being disciplined. This isn't about being good one day, waking up the next day, and just going at it half-heartedly. You got to be committed to the process 24/7. As I told our team a week ago, what they're trying to do is hard. I mean, it is difficult. When you think about trying to win a medal in front of the entire world, and you got other groups that are doing the same thing, it's not easy. You have to be committed. What little thing are you going to do that's going to make a difference, that's going to give you an advantage? And it takes discipline. It really does, because there's temptations out there all over the place. And it's a lot easier to make those decisions if you have answers to what you want to do prior to going into it. I talk to high school groups, you talk to middle schoolers. I have 2 young daughters right now. Know your answer before you get yourself in a position where peer pressure is going to make you change your mind. You need to know that. So if I'm a young 15-year-old and I've got a 10th grade daughter and she's going to a party and there's drinking going on, and I guarantee you she's going to walk into that environment. That's the world we live in. What are you going to do? Well, you better have an answer before you walk in the door. Because if you don't have an answer and you walk in the door and all of a sudden all your friends are around you and boom, what's your answer going to be then? Am I uncommon at that point with that peer pressure? And I think it's very important that kids have discipline. And it starts right from the top down to the bottom. And so as parents, are we disciplined in doing the proper things to educate our kids? And that's one of the reasons I enjoy speaking, getting in front of. If you need any help, if you want any questions, if you have any questions and you want to get a hold of me, you can email me, you can call me up. I'm available. I'm here to help you to make your journey a little bit easier, to help you in situations. Has my life been rosy since I became a Christian? Absolutely not. I was assistant coach for 6 years on the men's side down at the university, and then in the middle of January I lost my job. Head coach Jeff Sauer decided to retire. He was going to finish up his 20 or 25 years at Wisconsin. Wisconsin was going to pick a new head coach. When things get tough, who do you have your faith in? Who are you going to trust? When you're winning and things are going well and the hay's coming in, it's real easy to be happy. It's real easy to trust them. When things become challenging and difficult, who are you going to put your faith in? So I'm sitting there in January, I don't have a job because they gave the head coaching job to Mike Eves. And so here I am again at that crossroad. I didn't get a call from a GM. I got an eye conversation with Pat Richter, who was our athletic director. He says, Mike Eves is going to get a job. Mike Eves is a good friend of mine. I played tennis with him every Wednesday for the last 6 years. He's a good buddy of mine. He got the job. How do you conduct yourself? Who are you going to trust? Now I don't have a job. I got 5 kids. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to pray. And I'll leave you on that because you don't know how powerful prayer is. You'll hear people talk about it. Is it in your daily life? Are you praying for your family? Are you praying for your neighbors? Are you praying for your enemies? How powerful it is. Because I went back for about 3 months, my wife and I were looking at each other trying to figure out what the heck we're going to do. Are we going to get back in the NHL rat race? Take our kids, uproot them, move them out of their settings? I'm not sure that would be fair. So we prayed for about 3 months. And all of a sudden it's funny how God's plans works. You can be confused at times, and then you can look back and go, wow, does that make sense? That's unbelievable what his plan was. Women's hockey, did I ever dream growing up coaching women's hockey? No, it wasn't around when I was growing up. If it was, my 2 sisters would have played, and they probably would have been better than all myself and my brother. They would have been outstanding. They didn't have that opportunity. But all of a sudden, I get an opportunity to coach women's hockey down in Wisconsin. And the last 7.5 years have been just an absolutely wonderful experience. Not only have I got a chance to work with players that are passionate about what they do, they're committed. They go to school for the right reasons. There's no NHL for them to go to. They're showing up to get a degree. They go to school. They get stressed out when they have tests. But they come to the rink and they're ready to become better players. They're like sponges. They absorb what you're teaching them, what you're telling them. They embrace it. They become a team. They end up winning championships, and I get a chance to watch that. Give them an opportunity to experience some of the things that I experienced as a player. That's good stuff. And now I look back on the last 8 years, when I was at a crossroad of trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do with my life as far as a profession, what I was going to do with my family, and it's amazing what God has done. Absolutely amazing. Now I stand before you and I get an opportunity to coach the Olympic team. I got to play in one 30 years ago, and now I get an opportunity to coach one. Wow. Wow. That's special. Is that my doing? Absolutely not. That's God's doing. And that's why I'm here tonight. Because if FCA calls and I got time for God, absolutely. I'll put down whatever I'm doing and come over and help out. Because it's amazing when you can put your trust. And it can't be 60%. It can't be 70%. It's got to be both feet in the boat. Like I say, if you're going to walk with Jesus, you got to take both feet out of the boat and walk. You can't take one. I'm going to walk on the water, you got to take both feet out of the boat. Don't you? That's what I have to do. And so you have to commit yourself. Are there going to be bumps along the way? Is there going to be imperfections? Welcome to life. That stuff happens. That stuff happens. But if you equip yourself and you have this trust and faith, you've got something to rely on. Because if there's a problem, He's got an answer. If there's a situation, be patient. That's the unfortunate part of the world we live in. The athletes that we deal with today, it's about instant gratification. They want it right now. They want to play. They want their reward right now. They don't have the patience. Well, sometimes with God, we have to have patience. It took me 3 months of praying to figure out what the heck I was going to do and what path I was going to go down and where my journey was going to take me, but I found it. And I look back over the last 8 years and it's like, wow, is that ever cool? Is that ever cool? Got a chance a few years to go back to Lake Placid. Been there several times, but this time I got an opportunity to take my Wisconsin team back there. That's where the Frozen Four happened to be. We were fortunate enough to win a game in 4 overtimes to get there. But it was really cool to take a team back there and hopefully give them an experience that they would cherish for the rest of their lives. And I'll finish with this, because this is what it's about. It's not about me. It's about what I can do for my players and what I can do for my team and what I can do to give them an opportunity. So next year we're watching a movie about them doing the same thing I did 30 years ago. And that's why I'm doing what I do. I've got championships, I've got rings, great. I've been successful in some of those areas, awesome. But it's about giving back now, giving kids an opportunity to fulfill some of their dreams. And so as we go to Lake Placid, we're 2 games away from winning the NCAA championship. And how cool would that be to win at Lake Placid? Give them an opportunity, especially to our senior class, so when they're 10 or 15 years and they look back and they've got something that they can equate to Lake Placid also. So we happen to win that championship game. And I'm ecstatic, I'm excited. We're loading up our buses to go pack and catch our plane and head back to Madison. But before we do, we take our buses out to where we had our opening ceremony in 1980. And the torch is still there. If you drove into Lake Placid right now, the torch is still out there. It's a snowy, windy day, but as we get our buses closer to the torch, I take the entire team out. We get right in front of the torch with our NCAA championship, and boom. Right as we're about ready to click the picture, the sun comes out. Blue sky. Unbelievable. We click the picture, all of a sudden it gets developed, you hand it to those players, they've got something that they can cherish the rest of their lives. That's what makes it feel good from a coaching standpoint, from a teaching standpoint. And so I'll finish with that. Like I say, FCA, as far as community, as far as what we need to do in high schools, good stuff, really good stuff. If you get a chance to support it, and you're in a position to do that, I would highly encourage it. Because if you want your community to become stronger, if you want your city to become stronger, it starts down with the young kids. And I mentioned that earlier. It's so important. And athletics gives us that platform to do those things. And so if we get in front of these high school soccer teams, if we get in front of the high school boys basketball team, we've seen the stories from the football team in Altoona. If we get in front of those and just answer their questions, no different than when I got my questions and my wife got our questions answered 25 years ago, they will be better equipped to make better choices. We can't lead them to Jesus. We can give them information. We can get their questions answered. They have to make a commitment. But if you give them the information, if you answer their questions, you might all of a sudden hear the story of the young man all of a sudden over at St. Cloud calls back, he's become a Christian. He's become uncommon. And it's like you talk in the hockey business. It's usually not the big things that are going to win you the game, it's the little things. And all of a sudden one person, boom, then the next person, then the next person. It's like wildfire, it starts to spread. So I think that's why it's so encouraging to see what FCA is doing, not only in your area, but throughout the state of Wisconsin and throughout North America. They're getting into the position to answer questions to these young athletes and give them an opportunity to make choices. And that's why it's so encouraging to get in front of you and give you an opportunity to hear some stories, not only from myself, but from other people around the area. And so I leave you tonight, and I encourage you to not only pray for us in February, but get an opportunity to watch us on television. And if you get a chance to talk to Megan or Molly, it would be certainly worthwhile with your time. Because the one thing we have on our team, we've got great players. But more important, we got great people, and they're committed to what they're doing. They're doing the little things necessary right now that are going to pay huge benefits when we get together in February and the entire world starts to watch. Nobody saw what we were doing today.